Go ahead.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is the Appointments Committee meeting. It's August 12th, 2025 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in the Selectmen's Conference Room on the second floor of the Town Hall building. This meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Seeing none, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on-demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website. Roll call, Cindy.
Councilors Burdick.
Present.
Bloom.
Here.
Mendez. Crowe.
Here.
Chair of Committee, Councilor Kristen Turkelson.
Here.
You have quorum.
I received a text from Larry Moran regarding public comment. There wasn't a link to public comment, so he asked me to read what he wrote, so I'm going to do that. If you're aware of the controversy within and beyond the Human Services Committee fiasco, especially dealing with the open meeting law and the Kimberly Crocker-Crowther, as well as Cheryl, may I suggest that you postpone or defer reappointing her. On another note, I have tons of concerns about reappointing Tom Lee to anything. He's on at least 4 different committees and has reappointed himself to 2 of them. Plus, he's been a quote-unquote shit show covered by other people on conservation. Term limits for members and chairs have been bypassed for way too long, but perhaps it's time to send a message. I noticed on today's agenda that the multi-digit number for Zooming is not provided, so would you please read these emails or text? The lengthy link provided is not something I can access. The only other things to offer as comments are conservation applicants. I'm not only in favor of Heather Swenson, but also recommend that Ray Sexton also be considered if he desires. Initially, that's the board he wanted to be on, but there's been minimal movement recently. The other applicant for the HHDC, David Wren, should be appointed at least as an associate or alternate to that committee. There are changes maneuvering behind the scenes as we speak. Thank you for that public comment. Any response to public comment? Okay. We do not see Mr. Sexton here, so Heather, do you want to join us? And our first applicant interviewed today is Heather Swenson, and she has applied for the Conservation Commission and also saw that she'd be willing to serve on the HHDC. Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Burdick, would you like to
You're
start?
going to start with me? Okay, that sounds fine. So I didn't see this page of your CV when I was looking through things, so we'll just pretend that I know nothing about what you've been up to. So can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and your career?
Okay, as I wrote,
Right.
in the mid-1990s was a secretary to the town manager, chief of police in the town of Chester, Vermont. During that time, I served as the secretary for the various zoning boards, selectmen's meetings, and after that, we moved to Boylston, Massachusetts, and I was appointed to an unexpired term for town clerk. And I served as the town clerk in Boylston from 99 to I believe it was 2000, a little after 2001, 2000. We then picked up our stuff and moved to the Cape. I did my time as a CNA for hospice, working at the Mary McCarthy House, and then my husband started his own business, Mobile Marine Mechanic Incorporated, and I left working for in other positions to raise a family and to help my husband with the business paperwork-wise.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing since, with volunteering work thrown in there. Volunteer with the USO, I volunteer at the National Cemetery, try to attend town meetings when I can.
There you go. And you haven't served on any boards, committees, or commissions in the town of Barnstable as yet?
I have not.
And what do you, it's not my favorite question, but you guys always ask it, and since I'm first, I'll ask it.
Taking all the good questions.
Which is, so now, why now, and what is it about service to the town that appeals to you?
Okay. First and foremost, in looking through the list of available positions, number one, I hate to see anything go unfilled. I hate to see anything go perhaps unchallenged or, just somebody running unopposed for something. I live on waterfront. I live on Wequacket Lake. I've been very active with the Lake Association as far as water quality. Of recent, I would invite any of you to come to my house today, and the lake is literally unswimmable today with the cyanobacteria bloom that's going on. And that is a serious concern. I've been writing letters to the town, conservation, select board, or town council for years about water quality on the lake. There's been some other cases that have come before the board or towards the commission that I question maybe how they were handled, and just think that perhaps filling in a vacant seat, giving another person to be on the commission, and maybe a fresh idea from somebody who lives waterfront and sees the effects of either overbuilding or just not enforcing regulations.
So would you say then that you feel that the Conservation Commission is not functional now, or is dysfunctional?
I will say it's dysfunctional in its Zoom meetings. I think it's a disservice to townspeople that they are not meeting in person. I was just watching, sitting in my car, the meeting happening right now. There were several times connections failed. An applicant was unable to be heard while talking, and so they just moved on with the meeting. In that respect, yeah, it's pretty dysfunctional right now.
Right, how do you think you could help?
I would be a voice to getting back to in-person. I know I would be only one person, but I would be pretty adamant on my stand on that. And I just believe having that vacant seat filled helps with having a larger board.
How long has there been an empty seat on the Conservation Commission?
Since June 30th.
Just this June 30th.
Somebody chose not to be reappointed because they moved out of the area. But I couldn't remove them until the end of June.
Well, that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Crowe.
Hi, Heather.
Hi.
You live on the lake.
I do.
You said you've been involved with the Lake Association?
With the
You're from-
Wequacket Lake Protective Association, yes.
Okay, what have you done there?
I was
How is
their
that working out?
I was their secretary for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
My husband served as the president for a period of time. We
Okay.
attend meetings.
Okay.
There's things that I would like them to do that maybe they don't. There's things that I'm really happy that they take a stance on. We're really trying to protect the lake with the fertilizer, sewering. Kristen's done a really good job with keeping our back for what's going on around the lake. But I think there's more that could be done.
Okay. Heather, I seem to know you from different other areas. You've been involved in the town for a while, if I believe.
I'm at your town council meetings.
Yes, okay, that's why I've seen you a number of times.
Relating to
You've spoken
the
out. Yeah.
relating to the wind turbines, the
Yeah.
oven grid.
Yeah, I know all about those.
Okay. That's where you know me from.
Yeah, and what is the term of this position for the Conservation Commission?
It's a 3-year term.
3-year term. Okay, and you're obviously free for that period of time. How often does Conservation Commission meet right now?
It's Charlie, twice a month?
Twice a month?
3 times.
3 times a month.
Is that something you can find yourself doing on a regular basis? Okay. I think that's all I have for right now. I might come back.
Counselor Bloom?
going along with the 3 times a month. It's a demanding committee to be on,
It is.
as you know, because you've been aware of everything that's been going on. And it's not just the meetings that are in
Site
themselves
visits.
demanding. You know, it's getting out to the sites and taking a look at it all. And so Tuesdays won't be much for family.
I see that at 3 o'clock meeting, 6 o'clock
Yeah,
meetings,
there's
site
one
visits.
3 o'clock meeting every month and 2 6:30 meetings, yeah. They usually last a couple hours at least, yeah. So you're ready for that?
I hope so.
Okay.
My Tuesdays are free.
That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the Chris Clark question is, have you attended meetings, which I know that you have been watching meetings. I mean, you can't really attend.
attend.
You can't attend them in person, but you can attend them online. So I believe that you've been watching those, correct? Because you've been kind of keeping an eye on what's going on down by the Pleasant Hill
Pleasant
property.
Hill, the
Um,
Cranberry Bog.
Yeah, and I guess my question for you is when some might argue that, you know, the current makeup of the board requires that level of expertise, I'm gonna ask you, what do you think you're not an engineer,
No, I am not.
so, you know, that's a plus or minus depending on how you look at that. So, you know, I interestingly heard somebody say, what lacks on the committee is an actual person who cares about the environment. Like, and I'm not saying those people don't, so I don't want somebody to take my words out of context now that I've just said that. That's not about. But you know, like the birds and the trees and the fish and the water, their last stop is the Conservation Commission. At some points, it might be the first stop that we start to make some decisions. So I guess I wanna know how you speak as a non-engineer person, what you think you'll bring to this board that might be currently lacking in its makeup. And I think I've heard you speak to it, but I'm just gonna let you make that case out loud a little bit more.
Sure. Living on the lake, I'll be the first one to tell you, yesterday I went kayaking. I was going purposely to look for the eagle because we have an eagle right now that is on the lake. Did not come across him, but I was able to get pictures of all kinds of other wildlife. And I know I have shared with the town council many times when I'm concerned about other projects going on about the protection of the lake. I think our wetlands, you can't make more land. And I see the town cape being overbuilt. And just as a person who lives waterfront, I just have that passion for protecting what little there is. I've been on the Cape now 23 years. I've seen a lot of changes between living in a different town, living here. And I'd just like to see, we have no plans to go anywhere. My house is my house is here for a family homestead to my children and my children's children. And I just feel that Cape needs some protecting of what little open space we have left.
Would you say in your previous experience, because I read your bio, which was really interesting, I didn't know that much about you, so that I really enjoyed reading your history. I guess my other thought is, it sounds like you've probably been in a lot of places where you've had a lot of on-the-job learning. Would you say that you're a self-learner? If you don't know something, you go and find the resources and access those and learn about those? I mean, I know your daughter is an environmentalist herself, so I think maybe the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so I'm sure you have some good, resources there, and she probably has some good resources. So I guess, again, just to speak to how we, not all of us know everything when we get in our seats. We have to learn on the job. And is that something that you're, at this point in your life, you're ready to pick up and run with?
It is. I believe I'll be doing a lot of reading. There'll be a lot of going over the guides, regulations. I think as you pointed out, there's a lot of preparation for a meeting, and I am sure that I will be up to my eyeballs in researching, getting ready for a meeting, just to know what the regulations are pertaining to a particular project coming forward.
Well, any other questions, anyone?
I do
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
I just realized you're also interested in the downtown historic district, so why are you interested in that one too?
In the historic district, our Main Street is our lifeline to our tourism, to what people come to. I mean, people can go, you can go to Chatham, you can go to Harwich, you can go wherever, but if you come and stay in Hyannisport, Barnstable, you come to our Main Street and you have an image of what you believe downtown Hyannis, Cape Cod should be. And I think we have to really do a lot to preserve that. Once you give away our downtown to housing, other issues, or other formats, you don't have a downtown anymore, where people do not come to Cape Cod, to Hyannis, to walk Main Street and see apartments. They come to Main Street to go to restaurants, to go to museums, to go to shops, and that's what we need to preserve.
Thank you.
I got one question.
Oh, sure.
Heather, you've obviously watched the Conservation Committee meetings, and I'm not gonna put you on the spot. What's your general impression about the commission and how it works and what, how effective they are?
I believe that the board members that are there right now, I think they've all been with each other for a little bit of time. They seem to work well, work off of each other. I'm not sure how many of them regularly do site visits. I don't know if, so sometimes I think there's a little bit of controversy and somebody who's been there and is talking and somebody else does not have knowledge really of what's going on. But overall, I think that they're on Zoom, they're not bickering with each other, at least over video. I think there's a lot of varying opinions, but that's where then you all come together, and if you follow the regulations, you should be able to come up with a final plan that works for the town.
Okay. Just interested, you grew up in the Adirondacks.
I did.
How far up in,
Lake George.
oh, very good area.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time today.
Thanks.
Very good, thanks guys.
Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weather out there, for us. Mr. DeMello, come on up. So this is Rob DeMello. He also is applying for the Conservation Commission.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Councilor Bloom, would you like to start?
Sure.
Rob, we were having a little discussion before.
Yep.
And kind of liked what you had to say. Do you mind giving a brief recap of the things that you said earlier to me?
Of what we talked about just in general,
Yeah.
I was born and raised on Cape Cod. I've seen a lot of changes. So many different things have happened. Our biggest concern is, where are our children gonna go? How are they gonna afford to be here? What are we gonna do? But what's the cause of the problem? What is causing this to be so expensive here? And I think we can all pinpoint what's happening is with the amount of money that's coming here, property taxes are going up. It's good for people in my industry, but it's bad for people in my industry. Because as a business owner, yeah, I can work for potential customers, but my employees, I pay my employees very well, but it's still hard to make a living here, one person. 2 people, you'll probably do okay. But that was the discussion we were talking about, and I mean, there's so many aspects to that, how you wanna look at it, different things that are happening with the economy, with the country, everything about it. It's not just one thing, it's a vast majority of things, but that was that was pretty much our conversation that we were having.
I also think that you have a soft spot for preserving.
Yes, what we did discuss was, I'm gonna give an example, 132. When I was a kid, it was awesome. First of all, we didn't have as many buildings, but the architecture itself was so different. When I drive down 132, I feel like I'm in Route 1, in Saugus area. I don't like it. But I mean, money talks. So how do you control that? These big developers come down here, do their thing. I think it's up to one of the committees that's approving these buildings. Well, do you have to have it with a flat roof? First of all, why would you do something in New England with a flat roof? It makes no sense to me, but everything you see around here with a flat roof. You live in a climate where it snows, and the snow turns to ice, blah, blah, blah. Why would you have a flat roof? Put peaks on it. Make it look like Old Cape Cod. Even if it's just a facade, just change it. I think that's what we need to do with hopefully younger generations, is start teaching them that type of architecture, learn the history of where you live. I mean, that's what I do with what I do. I'll research. I go back in time. I look at photos. I mean, I'm working on a mega project now that I'm trying to bring back what Frederick Law Olmsted did. He was a father of landscape architecture. There's a property in Centerville that he designed, and I'm going to bring back everything he did. I'll bring it back. That's my passion. History.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're talking about the old, what was that, Lipton House, I think it was?
Tommy's place?
Yeah.
Right behind
one
Tommy's?
before it was Mary Ann English ran
Yes.
it as okay, because I knew that was a.
Behind Tommy's place
Yeah,
is a beautiful house
yeah.
where apparently Walt Disney developed the design for Fantasia from the water tower.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's a tree that fell in the pond at the Fernbrook.
Yeah.
There's a tree that's laying in the water that if you look at it sideways, you tilt your head, it kind of resembles
Yeah.
Fantasia. So it's like, is this just hearsay or is it real? But Frederick Law Olmsted did design all of Fernbrook,
Yeah, I'd heard that.
and I studied him when I was in school.
Yeah,
So I kind of have that.
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with him, so that's some of the great properties in the country.
Absolutely. All the major cities.
You guys you only landscaping, or do you do other,
I do everything
everything, right?
pertaining to landscaping.
Okay.
Everything and anything really.
Okay, and, all right, and, what is I'm gonna ask the same question. What is your feeling of the current commission and how it's running, and how you can think it might be improved, or what it's doing well, and how you can help out?
I've been to plenty of meetings.
Yeah.
I've been in front of the board plenty of times.
Yeah,
I think some of them, I'm not gonna say are too comfortable, but are too comfortable. I don't think any of them have the experience I have, to be honest with you. I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong in saying that. But the way we have our conversations and what I listen to and what I see, and it's like, that makes no sense. Just if you switched this way or if you did this that way, that would probably make this project flow a lot better. Just from the amount of experience I have. I've been doing this since I was a little kid. Then I went to school, got very well educated. And then I learned from all the old timers. And here I am.
I also was intrigued by your statement about the design from the past on 132 and other places, and the roofs and all that kind of stuff. It's one thing that some people don't hear that I have a concern with. It seems like every building is a rectangular with
It's disturbing.
a little cupola in the middle, and they call it New England. And they seem to use, junior high school architectural students to make up these plans, and there's no imagination in them. And you believe that is also a problem here?
That's a huge
Yeah.
problem.
It's like we don't have all
We
these,
have no culture.
yeah,
There's no culture whatsoever when it comes to architecture.
yeah,
It's just like we're taking cookie cutters.
yeah.
Because that's what I said. You drive through Saugus or Route 1 Norwood, whatever. Look at those buildings and come here.
Yeah.
It's happening here. And it's very disturbing. This is Cape Cod. There's no place like this in the country.
Yeah.
None. I've been to a lot of places. I've had friends leave here to go to California, even Long Island. They come back and like, there's nothing like Cape Cod. Which is true. So why wouldn't we try to preserve that? I mean, yes, we have to stay with the times. We need development. But let's do smart development. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with a new development in Dennis on 6A. They literally went in there and cut every single tree down. It's like, why wouldn't you walk through there, mow it all down, the understory, where you think you're gonna put your homes, but pick out the trees that should stay, save them. Yeah, I know you need roads, yeah, they need backyard, I get that all. But I'm a firm believer, if you cut down a 6-inch caliber tree or a 12-inch caliber tree, you should put at least 12 1-inch caliber trees back. So whatever you remove, you should be replacing, whether it's with shrubs or trees or whatever. Put it back. Trees are our lifeline. They're the ones that make our oxygen. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're gonna have a severe problem here. Just cut the world. If we keep doing what we're doing, we're devastating forests, wiping them out.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. But the architecture's the thing, I think it's a crime here, that we don't have a theme, or not a theme, but I guess that's what I mean, is that I've been to other towns and they have these quaint New England architecture that is a theme throughout their town. That's what makes them attractive for people to go to. We're just doing the cookie cutter,
That's all we're doing.
and especially the across from the mall there, where they were going to do something, the idea was to do something more like Mashpee Commons. Now we just have a straight strip
It's just
front.
flashing lights and
It's
flat
ugly,
roofs.
and it could have
there's
been
no-
easily done with, to me, with you just basically doing some extra thought into it and extra trim work and stuff that would make it a lot better.
It wouldn't take a lot to make it so much better.
Yeah,
And, I know I'm talking the Cape in general, but Barnstable is like, it's the center of Cape Cod. Everybody who comes to the Cape comes to Hyannis, comes to Barnstable. I don't care if they go to P-Town, they still stop here. We should be setting an example, whether it's landscape, whether it's architecture, conservation, whatever. We should be leading, so every town follows what we do. I think it's almost the opposite now. So that's, I don't just work in the town of Barnstable, I work in every town. So I see what different commissions do. And I mean, they're all roughly the same. There's not, from what I've seen, there's not a lot of people on these boards that have the experience of physically doing the work. I've been out there, in the heat, in the cold, rains, it doesn't matter.
I know, yeah.
I've been there. So that's what you want, I would think, on a committee that's making decisions for our coastal banks, our marshlands, wetlands, everything that we have. People that know what they're doing and have the experience of doing it.
Fine, thanks, Bob, appreciate it.
Councilor Burdick?
Well, you guys covered it all. No, so why now then? What made you decide to do? Because you've been here your whole life,
I've been
right?
here my whole life, but I just turned 50.
So you gotta try something new, you think, or get
No, I
involved?
mean, I have a successful company
Yeah,
and I have people that are running it with me. It's time for me to give back. And that's what I want to do. I want to go through education in a way, giving back to my community. What have I done? What has my company done? What have my colleagues done that I can help other people? Give back to the community, give back to the people that have issues. I tell everybody I fix problems. That's what we do. I fix problems. I do a lot of invasive plant management, a lot of conservation restoration. I want to give back to other companies on how to do it properly. And am I saying my way is the right way? No, but I'm pretty damn close. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. But I've done it so much, everywhere. I just wanna help people.
Yeah.
Because I get called into projects and I'm like, this could have been avoided. You know, now these people have to spend more than what they originally spent for us to fix it. It's like if somebody just guided them the right way the first time, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
That's just from my experience.
Well, there you go. So you wanna get involved and give back. I can understand that. And you live in Marston's Mills currently?
Yeah.
Very good. That's all I have.
Having been involved with multiple commissions, not just the town of Barnstable, but outside of our town, and knowing that Conservation Commission is a regulatory board, so it operates kind of under the purview of the regulations versus some other kind of softer areas where the town council kind of maybe injects themselves into things. What would be your response when the residents say the Conservation Commission didn't care or didn't listen to the residents? And it seems like there's a disconnect between what the regulations allow or say and what we think is common sense. How do you bring those together? You've obviously been the resident business owner experience going to the commissions. You're not on the commission side. I guess I'm just wondering if you could give us kind of an example or an explanation of how you see, I'm not sure I'm making myself clear, but
Yeah, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
you're gonna be on a commission that's regulated, so there's regulations,
Yeah, I have
correct?
laws I have to follow.
Yeah, and you know those because you're in the business, correct?
Yep.
How do residents find out that information? Or is it really just like an expert like you is who we need to hire in order to do our project
There you go.
within the bounds?
So, I tell people, I'm not cheap, but you get what you pay for. All my knowledge, all my history. Hire the right company the first time. I can't tell you who to hire. If you want to hire somebody that's cheap and they're going to do it for you, well, you're going to pay the consequences if they're just going to do it for you. Anytime anybody asks me, can you do this near a wetland? Low key. No, I'm not going to do that because my name means more to me than money. That's what I tell everybody. We're going to do it through the right procedure, which is getting the surveyors in here, getting the engineers in here, because I can't do that. I'm not a licensed engineer. I'm not a licensed surveyor. We get all that done. Now we know where our 50, our 100 foot is everywhere. Now we know within the 0 to 50 what we can do, the 50 to 100 what we can do. And this is what we're going to do. Then I come up with a design. And then the engineer takes it from there, makes it work. How do you get it to a customer? Advertising, or me being on the committee, showing people.
Yeah, and do you think it's hard for a regular resident who might own a piece of property to be aware of all of these regulations? I mean, it seems like it's a pretty,
It's not easy because there's so much to it.
yeah.
I don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. But there's so many avenues that you can go down to do different things. I mean, some of it's common sense. A lot of it's common sense. If you know you're near a wetland, don't go cut trees down. I mean, but some people just think it's okay, it's my land. Not really. It's your land, yes, but you're near a protected land. It's a whole different world. I think it should be discussed at the purchase of the home. When a real estate agent is selling a home, they should be giving these people, okay, you're near a wetland. Here you go. You're near a protected piece of property. These are the regulations. And I'm not saying give them a book, because they're not gonna read it, but
Yeah.
you cannot do anything from 100 feet to 0, to water, high tide mark, whatever you wanna call it. Maybe you should contact some of these companies and give them a list of companies to call. Or call the Conservation Commission, tell them what you wanna do. And they're gonna tell you what avenue to go down. But I think it starts in the beginning, like anything. You can't build a house that's square and level if the foundation's crooked. So if you're selling a house to somebody, you know it's a wetland, do the right thing. You're near a wetland. I work on projects where the house is within the 50. How the heck did they get away with that? Well, probably prior to the 70s.
Yeah. And in your experience of the Conservation Commission as a, you know, on the business side of things, meeting with the commission, were there times where the commission ever said, whoa, we should hold out, we don't have all the data, let's table this and let's.
For my projects or in general?
Or if you were like watching a meeting, cause you know, you were the
Yeah,
next applicant
they would
or
have to
something.
revisit,
Yeah,
you know,
things.
set it for the next meeting.
Yeah.
You know, you have 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it was, get this information back to us. Yeah,
And do you think if you were on the commission and you felt that the information wasn't adequate, that you would ask the commission?
100%, because I've been there. I've lived it.
Yeah.
Because I know if something gets done wrong, at the end of the day, who's gonna pay for it? The customer. You know,
Or the land itself, right?
well, exactly, so
Or,
let's
like if we
prevent.
ruin a piece of land because we know that we kind of jimmy the regulations
Can't do
or,
that.
you know, we
Do what's
maybe,
right.
we don't have the best data when we make those decisions, so.
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of complicated projects out there. I've seen them, I've done them.
Yeah.
And there are some things that a lot of people have never experienced. But it's about, you know, the engineer, the contractor getting together. All right, this is what we should probably do to fix this problem. Let's approach the customer. That's how I would address
Yeah.
a lot of those issues.
Any other questions, anyone? Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it.
We'll let you know
Have
our
a good day.
results.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Weiler, come on up. This is James Weiler, I pronounced it correctly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he is applying for the Shellfish Committee, and in particular for, one member holding a family permit to a term expiring 6/30 of '29. So welcome. And Councilor Crowe, would you like to start?
Let's see. I'll just go to, I don't have many questions for you, but I'll just go to some of the things that I've seen happen. Many people buy property without an idea of what the shellfishing regulations are on the waterfront property they own. And I see many of them, many people in certain cases go to court over some of the shellfishing apparatus that floats on the water, especially in front of their homes. And they'll go to court about it. But these are well established as far as I know, and from what I've heard before. What are your opinions on that kind of aspect?
Well, I haven't seen that in the 2 years that I was looking at the videos in the past. I
Yeah.
didn't see anything other than there was somebody complaining about floating stuff. Well, I guess I think it's not that terrible a view to have at low tide, you might have some of those black bags out there. And I think it would be fun to say, hey, you're helping shellfish, you're helping clean the water, helping bring tourists in. So I guess I don't think it's that bad to have stuff, as long as it doesn't bother navigation. We usually check with the Corps of Engineers to make sure there's no problem with the floating stuff. I guess you could try to say, can you move it out of your way, but you probably you're gonna see it
You have a
a
lease.
long way.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't think it's too bad to have that view 6 hours a day, whenever low tide is. As long as it's not bothering, your access to the water.
Okay. You've been involved as a constable on the,
No,
what does it say, shellfish constable. Various times in past years with the town,
I
with
just
the
help.
town shellfish constable.
Yeah,
Okay, do you have any leases yourself?
Nope.
No,
I'm just a recreational guy.
recreational guy. All right, and what do you see as your expertise in order to help on the Shellfish Commission?
Well, I went to, there was a course on, as if you were, for shellfish farming, so,
Yeah.
I took that. It's basically just recreational stuff that I've done, and then stuff I've learned from that course. I went all those years, or all the videos, I kept looking up every term I didn't understand, and stuff, like, oh, there's 2 different ways to build a pier, I didn't know that. So I don't really have any expertise historically or from my working experience, just stuff I've learned recently. that I was interested in. I went to the Barnstable, inside Barnstable Town Government, Citizens Leadership Academy, and they said, well, I didn't know there was 40 committees that help run the town. That is amazing. So I thought,
Welcome.
yeah, I know, we gotta help out now that I'm retired, so, that's not directly an answer to your question, but.
Okay,
So I just learned stuff, a little bit doing stuff, talking to everybody that does stuff, I talk to Amy, and when I help out with the natural resources, you learn a lot of stuff. I've gone to Amy, or Liz's talks. So I've just been trying to learn for the last 3 or 4 years. That's about it.
okay. How often does the Shellfish Commission meet?
Once a month.
Once a month? Okay. And how many members are on that commission?
I don't know, I think 8 or 9.
Okay.
I think there has to be a Wampanoag, there has to be some commercial, there has to be some individual. I think they say there's 2 at-large, meaning recreational guys, what I thought.
And do you think you may be able to help that organization?
Well, some of it is just, it's not necessarily about shellfish, it's like helping them come up with language. Like I watched the meetings and hardly any of the committee members helped the constable or the guys that were asking for help to come up with language. Like nobody even said, are these the 4 points that everybody wants to have? So some of it's just a little more organization, documenting of what are we talking about? Because they kind of say the same things every meeting and move forward a little bit. And I'm thinking, that guy said that point. There's 4 points. You gotta have whatever regulation you come up with should cover these 4 points. So I felt like the committee members could help the constable and the commercial guys that want more help with language. It just took like 8 months to come up with 12 sentences. So some of it's just that. And then some of it is knowledge of what the issue is. And I learned that kind of stuff just by listening, like, dragging's got this kind of problem. If you put a corporate name down on this field, is that gonna allow the takeover by big companies of all the shellfish licenses? So you have to know some of that. But some of it is just wanting to be involved to help come up with language. Like, I don't wanna write it all, but I can say, is this what we're thinking of? Are these the points that everybody wants to have? So some of it's just documentation and, note-taking efficiency.
How, do you think the advisory board is well suited to doing what they're doing, or they run fairly well, or?
Well, I think some of the board members could help more, like I was thinking I would do. So, and I know, 2 of them are in bars, so the Barnstable Association for Recreation and Shellfish. So, they seem to mostly just say, I'll second that motion. So I think you could help out. There's not many regulations that they needed to make in the last 2 years, but when there was, it seemed like they could put a little more effort into helping, because Amy ends up writing it, and then she asks the commercial guys, is this okay? We could help out with that a little more.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Counselor Burdick?
My turn. So, I'll ask my standard question to begin with. Tell me about your work, or your previous work, now that you're retired, right? What you did outside of shellfishing. You didn't shellfish for a living.
No, I was a programmer. And then I did security, so I worked for Staples and then Starwood, which is Sheraton and West End and some other brands. Then I got over by Marriott, so I was, application information security there. Then I retired, started doing more shellfish stuff. I do a lot of conservation stuff with Clean Water Coalition and the Barnstable Ponds Coalition and the Land Trust, and helping the natural resources as a volunteer. So none of the previous experience really helps anything. But
Well, it's interesting nonetheless, and you must have enjoyed it if you did it for all those years.
oh yeah,
Pay the bills.
I definitely enjoyed the people I worked with, and telling your kids, yeah, I fight bad guys on the internet. So that was an interesting daily activity.
How long have you been retired?
Let's see, December 22.
So not that long.
No,
Just long enough to start getting bored?
no, I never would.
No.
No, I still do security stuff on my own, looking at websites, you can do a lot from the client side.
I can imagine. And then, how long have you lived in Barnstable?
August 2019,
So also not that long.
no?
Where were you before that?
Lexington, outside of Boston.
So not far.
Yeah, not far, I didn't want to come down here very much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's a nice place to be at certain times of the year.
No, I think I don't like it all the times of the year. If you don't like the winter, you're in the wrong part of the country.
That's a fact. Well, those are my questions. Insofar as it pertains to the Shellfish Advisory Board, I don't have any further questions. I think you acquitted yourself well, so I asked the personal questions. And then I'll pass it along to Charlie Bloom.
Barnstable versus Wellfleet, who won the argument?
Oh, come on. It's not Wellfleet, that's for sure. It's us. Now, you're talking North Shore oysters or
Okay,
South Side oysters?
He's on the committee as far as I'm concerned.
They even shuck them from the side. What the heck is that?
Why, though?
I don't know. I talked to guys at the Shuck Festival at Cape Cod Beer, they were Wellfleet guys. I said, why do you do it from the side? They said, I don't know, it works. That's what they were told. I said, I guess if it works, okay, but that's not.
But what is it about the oyster that in Barnstable that makes it better than
Our terroir instead of terroir.
marijuana?
Yeah, see, we got there's the Great Marsh, that's, fresh water comes in and you get the tidal flow. And then on the south side, you also got water going down there, fresh water goes down. So it's our particular embayments and the tidal flow, which is better.
I'm ready to vote him on.
I got one more.
I
Just
know, I
wanna,
just got sidetracked on my question, cause I don't eat oysters, but,
That's okay.
I know, don't hold it
Clams?
against me. No one ever fed me one as a child, now I just think they look funky, so.
Scallops, shellfish, they're good. They're trying to bring the scallops back to Countless Beach, so.
Is there an effort to use our shellfish I know that they can clean the water, are there efforts to use more shellfish colonies to help with we have this huge water quality issue related to our
Yeah.
sewerage and all that stuff, we all know, so is there any or?
No, I don't think anything that we've seen about, and I asked them a couple times, I said, well, can we increase the acreage of where
Yeah.
shellfish can be grown? And I have to get the state to do some of that too. We can't just declare it ourselves, but nobody's really said, we want to do this to clean the water. It's mostly because we can grow more, so the commercial fishery can have more money or we can have more tourists, because we do have like a temporary license, so you could advertise for tourists, like, hey, you guys can learn how to shellfish. I've only heard it for those reasons, not to clean the water, even though it does, especially oysters. So it's mostly just for the commercial and recreational.
And do we have, because I don't shellfish, do we have a shortage of shellfish because we have so many people doing it?
No, we seem to be doing okay. Scallops and mussels have disappeared kind of, but we're trying to bring them back. So there are some places you can get mussels, but the scallops need eelgrass, but they're reintroducing that. So I guess it's not a shortage, but it'd be nice to have it back.
Yeah.
Because mussels also clean the water a lot. So
Yeah.
there's a place called Mussel Point on Sandy Neck, the south side of Sandy Neck, that you can, I go over there on a kayak, but I haven't done it. So I haven't seen anything about cleaning the water, but it would be nice to get all 4 types of shellfish back available. One thought was, it's another thing you could advertise. I'm also on the Ponds Coalition. I just got another cyanobacteria alert, so I'm thinking, tourists don't always come to the beach. They're going to start slowing down if they hear I can't go in the ponds. But I thought, well, hey, you can learn to shellfish. You get free food. Well, not free after you get the license, but so that's another aspect I thought of tourism. Although I haven't said that to anybody. So it'd just be nice to work on getting all 4 forms of shellfish back. Working with natural resources.
In looking at the makeup of this board, this committee, you know, we have the member at large, we have the family permits, we have a fisheries trained, a professional fisheries trained, and a commercially permitted. How do you think those different sectors work in this committee as far as like competing interests? Because you have some commercial people,
Right.
then you have the people that just enjoy it like yourself. Like kind
I-
of keeping that in check, or,
I didn't see, there wasn't any conflict between those types of people. There was conflict within the commercial guys because some guys started dredging versus the normal digging. And so I learned about that, like, well, you know, they dredged and they turn around, and so you almost dredge the end twice and it's a deep hole, so other guys. So it was arguments against different types of commercial stuff, not between different members.
and is that something that the board as a whole takes a vote on or position on?
Well, I think they could, nobody seemed to, that's where I would say, look, okay, so you guys are saying you got this problem, okay, it's too deep, if you do it this and you do this. I thought it could be moved forward.
Yeah,
There was a guy, he left, he said, I'm gonna leave before I say something on film that I don't wanna say, I'll write it in. I thought, boy, these guys are pissed because this guy is doing something that interferes with them making their money.
yeah,
So it was only between commercial guys, different types of harvesting, not
yeah,
between different types of members.
yeah. I was just curious, because it's a diverse makeup, and I could understand how in ways you have people who
Yeah.
are maybe commercially think they have a technique or know more, and then you have like a recreational person, and, you know, so I just was curious how
It's
that
more-
worked out.
Haven't heard that, it's more like we'd make a recommendation to the Conservation Commission about a pier. And it's like, okay, well, once you put in a pier with motorboats, there goes the shellfish habitat. You can't do that if there was any, or some before. But not between people, it's pretty, I don't know, there's not much joking, they're okay. There doesn't seem to be much problem with the recreational versus commercial versus wild versus Native American.
Okay, I was just curious, just having, you said you watched a lot of the meetings, so
Yeah.
I knew you would know.
It's weird, because I feel like I know these people, because I watched these for 24 hours,
Yeah.
25 hours. We went to the Christmas party at bars, and I'm like saying, hey, hi, you know, across the room.
And they're like, who are you?
They had never seen me, and I've been watching them for 24 hours.
They're like your new best friends that you know, they're
Yeah,
like
I
your
had to go-
imaginary friends, but in the real.
Well, I had to go up and say, oh, you know, the reason I said hi to you across the room, you didn't know who I was because, you know, so-
All right, well, thank you for coming in today, and thank you for sharing with us.
okay.
Nice to meet you, thank you.
David Wren?
Yes, that's me.
This is David Wren, and he is applying for the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission. It does read that there are no current vacancies, but we do have people up for reappointment, and a reappointment is not a guarantee that you get the seat. So just because you're in the seat doesn't mean you get to keep the seat. So although it doesn't in theory mean there's an opening on top of it, there might be a chance because you might be an applicant that we choose over somebody for reappointment, so.
Sure, yeah, I ran into Neil, I think he's the vice chair, on the weekend. He mentioned he might be an alternate also, which I thought,
I'll
but,
have to-
you know,
but thank you
I
for
don't
that.
know. I know things change a lot.
Yeah. Day by day. Councilor
Yeah.
Burdick, would you like to start?
Sure, why not? Let's see. So I guess tell me a little bit about yourself, as I always say, about your work and all that jazz.
Yeah, so both me and my wife are pretty new to the Cape, actually. We didn't grow up here. I grew up in Bellingham, Mass, and lived in Norton, Mass, and I worked in downtown Boston most of my career, or in that area.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the South Shore area, if you will. So, you know, we purchased a house down here 6 years ago with the intention of retiring here eventually. So, you know, we've been transitioning down here over the last 6 years. And, you know, and of course, we did like a lot of people did, and we rented the house out in the summer. And we came out down in the off season. And now we're here full time. We moved out at the beginning of the year. And but I'm working. My wife is working part time down here. But most of my career, I'm an accountant by trade. And I worked in
managerial roles as an accountant, so as a county manager, controller. So I'm not really looking to do anything in finance, however.
So we can't interest you in a position at CFAC, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Darn.
So, in the town of Norton, I got a little involved in the town up there, and I was on the, what they call a charter commission. So that was an elected position, and the idea behind that was to change the charter, and the ultimate goal was to replace the town meeting format with a town council, which of course you have to have here. Kind of more efficient, more modern sort of way of running.
Did they do it?
They did not.
Oh,
So I kept saying to myself, like, this is my my last favorite to the town. Because I thought it was the right thing to do. If you knew Norton, it's probably not all that surprising. It's a small town, it's still trying to figure out what it wants to do when it grows up. And, it's grown a lot, but a lot of people aren't involved in the town either. So I really think if you truly gotten everybody in town to show up, I think it would have passed easily. But like a lot of times,
Right.
it's
Just
special interest.
the same few people
Yeah.
who show up.
So, so it lost. The day it was voted on, it was election, because there was a ballot question actually. And I was actually down here. I was actually at Tugboats having dinner when the vote came out. So it was also in the theme of me transitioning away, one way or the other. And I said, no matter where I am, it's not going to affect the vote. So and I was also on the ZBA for 2 terms. I think I did 2 3-year terms there. So it was both were new roles. It's not like my background, of course, was not in town government, and even with the ZBA, my background is not in zoning. But I wanted to get involved and try to contribute. I think as an accountant, I tend to be pretty level-headed. Look at the facts, take both sides in, and try to make a fair assessment of what's going on.
Right.
And since we moved down here, 6 years. Well, since we started moving down here, we bought the house 6 years ago. I've seen, and we live like 3 or 4 blocks over from Main Street, so that's sort of my interest in what's going on in Main Street. I spend probably too much time there, but I spend a fair amount of time walking it and going into various businesses and those kind of things. And so I have a vested interest in how it looks, and it's really come a long way in the 6 years we've been down here. And, so I like in general, I think that the commission's on the right path. I just like to see it continue down that path. That's kind of what
Right.
I'm trying to do.
Well, you covered all my questions in one, so that's good. But so you're not retired yet?
No, I am not. No, I did step back. I'm not managing people any longer. So I'm just an individual contributor. So I'm an accountant for Barnstable Mutual Insurance Company over in Young.
Oh, yeah.
Which has been interesting itself because I didn't know anything about the insurance industry either. So I'm always learning new things.
Keeps you young.
Keeps you young, yeah.
So you
So
must be very well versed in the zoning regulations, or at least you were for Norton, or for this, but the general state guidelines as well.
yeah, I was. You learn from it. Trying to think of we had a lot of issues with almost I would say 80% issues that came before the board had to do with non-conforming properties. It's a half-acre property, but the zoning is now an acre, so we need to, by default, you're not in compliance. That was probably about 80% of
Right.
findings we ruled on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it pretty technical. We had a great chairman. He was an attorney by trade, and I always said like without him we'd all would have been really a challenge.
Okay.
And that's one reason, like, I'm not all that interested, like a planning board or too highly technical sort of zoning kind of.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's all I've got for you.
One sec, right?
Ask a few questions on. I see you said you were talking about the overall the momentum going forward in town. What specifically are you considering that is positive going on now?
Well, I think just in general, I mean, I know a few years back, I think there was some grants that were given to some of the businesses, that they could apply for, and a lot of them seem to take advantage of just fixing the facades and that, I mean, I like the idea of the mixed developments.
Yeah.
Some people don't like the housing on Main Street, but to me, you really wanna have a vibrant downtown area year-round, and you want businesses to be able to survive year-round. And, not just make all their money in the summer. You really need that, more people who can walk from their apartment to.
Yeah.
I think that personally is a great idea. And we need we certainly need housing down here. And, Hyannis with the sewer systems, and, we seem to have the infrastructure in place to take advantage of that. And, putting on that Main Street, I think that's a great idea. I noticed, there's been, I think it's on the corner of Ocean and Main, there's that old building just sitting there. And I know they've been trying to do something with that for the longest time.
The old grocery store one?
Yeah, I guess so.
The brick one that we've all been fighting over?
The one that,
Is that the one on Ocean?
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about.
on the ferry side, not on the,
On the Main Street side?
Yeah, it's Main Street, the corner of Main and Ocean.
There was a big
with
fight
the
at,
bricks,
yeah,
about the bricks.
there was a big fight at
Yeah.
that committee about
Yeah.
that particular one.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's like,
That was one of the first
why do we
meetings I
keep
watched,
on
and I thought, this is pretty interesting.
And you still applied, I mean, that's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
sign.
And there was a lot going on there. It was, I don't think it was necessarily just that committee that was, there was other issues they had to consider. There was conflicts with the zoning and the
All kinds of
guidelines.
stuff in there.
Yeah,
The height, the transition.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame, because now it's still sitting there.
I know.
And, so I like this, I'd like to contribute, and again, I just think, I tend to just, I take in all the facts, I tend to, look at the gray area a lot and try to make sure I understand everything. And, so I'm not looking to turn the world upside down on the board by any means. I just like to keep it moving forward.
Charlie? Okay. Well, housing on Main Street. Nobody's gonna give us more than 10% inclusivity on it. So we get 9 units at market rate for every one. There's nobody, really, Barnstable residents can't afford market rate. I don't see what's helpful about it. I'd rather see no building at all until we fix the inclusivity rate.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with some of what you're saying, even though that goes well beyond Barnstable. That's, you're talking about 40B.
It's everywhere.
You're talking about 40B regulations.
Yeah, but a 40B would give us 25%. 20 to 25% is a requirement for 40B.
Then you don't have any control of the building.
No, I know that, but the point is that we are, by having a developer come in and only offer 10%, if we really wanted affordable housing, a 40B would give us more. They're like different, they're different beasts, that's all. I'm not arguing one over the other, for one over the other, they are just different though.
Yeah.
Market rate development versus 40B, they're different animals. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, quite honestly, I wasn't looking at it necessarily from the affordability perspective. I was talking about generally making Main Street more viable for the businesses themselves.
Yeah, we all want it to be more lively, we want to see, people drawn to Main Street to spend their money and have a good time in the process of it.
Yeah,
I just am concerned about, have you seen the Cascade thing go up? Cascade motor inn on
Oh,
part of
yes,
Main Street.
yes, I've been trying to figure out what that's gonna look like. Actually, I finally found a picture last night of what it's gonna look like. Yeah.
To me, like, it's horrendous.
Actually, have you seen the development next to the Independence House? Have you driven by that?
Yeah, you know, these. I just think that, these massive structures are going to be the downfall of Hyannis. You and I live in Hyannis. We're the only ones here that live in Hyannis. You know, we're gonna be dealing with the traffic. You know, there's gonna be a lot of projects built on Barnstable Road. There'll be a lot of them. They're in the works. Parking is, you know, there's this illusion that parking is not, we don't need to have any more than one parking space per unit, you know. It's crazy.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of those issues are worked out before they get to this commission, in this sense. It's not through planning and you know.
Well, it got worked
zoning.
out by changing the zoning, the form-based zoning, that kind of,
Yeah,
You should, I mean, what the subtext of this conversation is, there are two different groups on the town council right at the moment who feel
Yeah.
two particular ways about this
sure,
topic.
sure, I'm thinking of that.
So there's Charlie's on there.
Yeah,
And like, I appreciate what Charlie has to say, and I love Charlie, he's a good guy. But not everybody feels that particular way. As much as I loved the abandoned swimming pool and the fallen down motel at Cascade, I'm happy to see that something is going there instead of
yeah,
a
and I
rat
think the
warren.
Cascade actually has more than one parking space per unit.
It's like 1 point, I don't know exactly, but I thought it was 1 point something.
Yeah, but I'm
I
just
don't
saying they actually have over,
It's really
because of the way that property is, they actually
They
have
have more space to
yeah,
put a
more
parking
space
lot,
for
and they
parking,
designed
so
it in
maybe
such a
that
way.
that
Yeah.
will work
But
out.
like, it's just, you can see that why this particular committee can be somewhat contentious. Just like when we talked about, or at that meeting where they talked about the former grocery store there, which some people had very strong emotions about for whatever reason. And I love the abandoned, dangerous nature of that building.
As a matter of fact, I think that building is actually the only building that I like that has been proposed for Hyannis.
Right, Marcello's,
Because-
the one that was
yeah.
gonna go there,
Because it's gonna have a really cool restaurant going down Ocean Street.
Inside there, yeah, sure.
it
It's
was a
gonna
good
look
looking
great.
building.
And the front of it on Main Street is really cool architecture.
But that one died.
But all the rest of them, and
You know what, I don't know.
they're just ugly.
So that's one thing that, I mean, for this committee anyway, that, you know, the zoning in and of itself is a separate issue, meaning the form-based code. And, you know, there is obviously, of the things that have been proposed to modify it, none of them have been design-based really, except for the stepping of the roofs and this, you know, so on, whatever, that was on our agenda, right? Isn't that so? There was a parking one, there was some, but anyway, well and truly beside the point. I just wanted to let you in on that, because it's a contentious issue. And if you've been watching them, but
Oh, I
not the
watched the
town
meetings,
council,
oh, yeah.
you've probably seen it.
No,
You
I've
know
seen
all
some of it,
about
I've seen
it.
some of the, like, oh, yeah, it's there. It got a little nasty, I think, the one I was referring to, but I get both sides, I don't have an answer.
Right.
Quite frankly.
It's a contentious one, and
It's-
if you're gonna be level-headed.
You get both sides. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that's the way you should be,
Yeah.
in my opinion, if you're gonna be on a committee. You know, you understand both sides. You get that there are gonna be people who you know, may agree with you, who may not agree with you. And, you know, if you're willing to get both sides, then I think you're a great candidate for the committee.
And that, if I could make just one
Yeah.
brief point, not to cut you off, because I realize we're still in. But that for me anyway, was my philosophy, as you guys may know, having been on this committee, is that I find it very important to put people who are not extremely polarized at least for my vote, never voted for somebody who's gonna be a lightning rod on any of these committees. Because we want people who are kind of right down the middle, who will be a dispassionate and fair-minded arbiter of how to apply, especially on a regulatory body, how to apply the regulation. And an advisory committee to a lesser extent, how to interpret the spirit of the philosophy of the town, whatever. So sorry.
No,
I
that's
agree
fine.
with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I guess I bring in that sense, because I've been trying to understand the politics of the town a little better. Knowing I was pretty clued in, I had friends and, you know, it was a little small town to get your hand around, wrap your hand around too, but I'm new here. I don't have a lot of preset, perception, I don't have a lot of preset kind of ideas in my head. Like I said, I mean, in general, I like what I've seen, and so I'm very pleased about that. I'd like to see it go, keep going. Yeah, well, as far as the housing goes, like I said, I mean, I do sort of like the idea of housing in the sense of making it more vibrant. So, you don't walk in. Columbus is not a great example because it seems to always be busy, but some of the other places aren't that busy in the off season, and maybe something help them.
Yeah, I run businesses that are only busy in the summertime. And I lose money for December, January, February, March.
Yeah.
And then you start making money again in April, and then you try to make as much as you can and work yourself to death. And then you
Drop off the
go
charts.
back in and lose money for 5 months straight, employing people who live here on Cape Cod, who have to pay market rate rents, which, everybody says no one can afford it, but, everybody's living somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they do, you make the money you need to survive. This is something that a lot of people forget, that, just because we can sit there and say, oh my goodness, $3,000 a month, I don't know how anybody affords it. There are people who are like, well, I'll be in my car in the Kmart parking lot living if I don't make $3,000 this month to pay my rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I was actually involved with a 40B in Norton, and it went up actually right across. I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but it was right across from the TPC golf course, and right next to a McDonald's and a big plaza. And at first, a lot of people had a perception it was going to be low income housing, and then I was like, well, this thing is far from low income housing when you get into the details. And it was going to be 75% market rate, which in Norton is pretty high. It's not too far off from where you're going to pay down here. And even the low market is not low income; it's just affordable. It's still a big chunk for the average person. Your average fireman can't afford that. It's kind of crazy because it's all based on, I believe, the index up in the Boston area, and now see it's just a crazy market. So
Our CFAC committee testified before the town council a month or two ago. They said that their research showed that we're not attracting enough policemen because the housing is too expensive for new cops.
yeah, I believe it. It's wild. Actually, ever since I bought the house, I've gotten myself more and more interested in the market, the real estate market, just from a higher level. I don't have any intention of getting involved in real estate, selling and realtor or anything like that. But I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, in my neighborhood, like not even today, I can walk home and there's 2 houses directly across from me that are empty 80% of the time because they're not there. They come down when they want to, which is good for them. I get it, but then you can't find any people who can't afford to live down here. I mean, it's just crazy, and I don't have the answer for that.
Foster Road, off of Bursa's Way?
Old Colony.
Old Colony, okay.
So you can walk right here.
Oh, I literally walk here. I walk here a lot. It's been I walk down the main street almost every night either to visit someplace or just to go for a walk. I'm like 7 minutes away from basically that walking. Yeah, it's really nice, but we're tucked away. I live in Foster's comes to a dead end. We have a wetland next to us. I mean, I call it a wetland. It's a wetland. It's not. So we have a lot that's half our lot is a wetland, half is our lot. And then down that brings you down to Oak Neck, and then you got the cemetery right there. And then the other part of the cemetery, which comes over to Oak Colony,
Yeah.
is on the other side of Foster.
It's a nice spot.
So it's, we're pretty secluded over there, but, but I can do, in 7 minutes, I can hear the, within 5 minutes, I can hear the music at the used to be the beer tent to the, Smith family, what is it now, Neptunes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in a FEMA flood zone?
No.
No?
No. No, I was very insistent with my wife when we bought the house. I said, I don't know. We all had our requirements, and one of them was like, I'm not dealing with that. So we're actually up a little hill.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the second lot is down a hill, so now you're going down closer to Oak Neck.
Yeah.
And that's not a flood zone, but it probably will be someday. It's definitely dips down over there.
Someday.
I just have one quick question, then we'll wrap it up. You said this is your first summer here?
Yep.
How do you like it?
Oh, we love it. We absolutely love it. Me and my wife like to get out and, we go out a lot. And, yeah, my biggest issue is we don't drive. When I drive to work, that's as far as I drive all week. And we're always like, where do you want to go to dinner? And I'm like, well, we can go here, there, or everywhere, or we can go up to Main Street and just walk there. No, we've been loving it.
Good.
Really have.
Good. Well,
And like I said, we step back, from a work perspective, my work's been a little more stressful than I thought I was stepping into, but nonetheless, I'm not I'm an individual contributor, so I'm not gonna be there all night and, so I can make meetings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, my wife's down 2 days a week, so, a lot of things around the house she can deal with that way.
Well, I'm glad it's working out for you.
Yeah, no, we really liked it, we bought the house, we actually had given up because we looked at houses on the water a little further down, and it was so expensive. I'm like, I'm not paying that kind of money for, for what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to one house and the realtor goes,
Well, you're in a
I go
perfect
out-
location.
I go out, yeah, I said, I'll walk around inside, and he goes, I'll see you when I get back, and he goes, well, it won't be long. I said, I can't live here. So this really worked out well for us, and at the end of the day, we're down here full time, so, and we haven't done a full year. We did the spring, and that was a little challenging, pretty, a little wet, and, plus we were trying to get it, get into the groove about new jobs. And the dog wasn't loving, my dog is not loving INS, he's older and he's not happy about moving.
He's more like us on this end of the table.
Yeah, he doesn't like change.
He doesn't like change.
Yeah, so, but we haven't done a full year down here as far as the seasons go, Of course, we came down at different times. We had that.
Well, you've done some off-season, now you've done a summer, so I think you're pretty solid.
Yeah, we had a pretty good idea.
Pretty solid on your decision making.
Yeah, we love the fall, we love the summer. The winters are pretty, like everywhere, but I mean,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Well, it's nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
for your time today.
Yes, thank you very much.
We'll be in touch.
All right.
Nice to
Nice
see
to meet
you.
you. Take
Safe
care.
walk.
You too.
Good conversation.
It was.
Yes.
Thank you.
Catherine Finkenstack, come on up. She is applying for the planning board to a regular member to a term expiring 6/30 of 28. And Councilor Crowe, would you like to start?
Okay, where are you originally from?
I was born here, down the road, Cape Cod Hospital.
Okay,
4 generations of family who have sort of staked claims here. But I have never lived here full-time.
Yeah.
Summers as a kid, and I went to college in Western Mass, and I'm a COVID refugee back here when things opened up in terms of opportunities to work remotely, and I came back to my safe space and the place I loved. I've always loved it here.
seems like you may be from the west, spent some time on the west coast, or?
I did. When I I went out to college in Amherst, and when I graduated in film and video,
Okay.
I took off for sunny Southern California and was there for about 30 years.
Yeah, okay, I see your experience with Cisco, a number of companies.
Yeah, Cisco I'm still working with here. I work remotely.
You know Carl Redfield?
I'm sorry?
Do you know Carl Redfield?
I do not, no.
Okay. He's a guy who lives in Australia. He's retired from Cisco, I believe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay, maybe you can give us a general background of where you come from, what you've done, and why you'd like to be on the planning board.
General background we sort of covered. I have worked in the entertainment business since I moved to Los Angeles, and I'd been driven by a professor in college who told me I was never gonna be a director, I was a producer. Wiser words have never been said, and so I have always worked on the production side of things. Working my way up the ladder into multi-million-dollar projects and executive producing, and that's sort of where I have landed in my career, which has been a wonderful career. I think it gives me, the thing that I realized about the career choice that I have is that it translates into a multitude of different capacities, because that's sort of the need for coordination, for organization, for budgeting. It translates into a lot of different other areas. Still hasn't helped me figure out what my plan B is when I retire from it, but I came back to the Cape, as I said, during COVID, when I realized I could work remotely. And I've always wanted to come back here and to sort of materialize it was incredible. I have a lot of family still here, so it was sort of plugging back into sort of home. It just feels like home. I chose to live over on the Bayside over in West Barnstable because I didn't want to live in an area that was going to be overbuilt. In LA is undergoing a lot of the same crisis on a bigger scale of overbuilding and trying to accommodate what is a chronic homeless situation there. The trouble is that a lot of buildings are being built there at market rate, and they do not come to capacity. The owners of the buildings therefore sort of slightly abandon them in terms of their care and enterprise, and they just become another sort of slummy building, I guess, borderline. They're not as well maintained as they had intended when they built them. So, I have in moving to West Barnstable into a conservation land, I have an antique home. Those are things that I cherish. I also recognize the need for progress, but I think that progress could be done in a way that is aesthetically respectful of the conservation practices here that are required here, and also that just the aesthetic, historic, structure of this. We live on an island, and it's really alarming to me to see some of the scope of the buildings that are being built, with the anticipation of this multitude of people apparently that are going to be coming here. And it's not clear to me where they'll work, how the infrastructure supports it, and I understand the need for housing and places and things grow. However, physically, our land is actually shrinking. So I started, it was just an awareness that I started to gather that here in this environment, there's actually access to learning about planning and zoning and conservation, because it's a smaller community. The government, the town council is very accessible. The Zoom meetings, everything is online. And so I just started to pick up a passion about all of that happening here. And you can't miss it as you drive. I'm in the Cascade Motor Lodge. It's just it's painful to me. And Wilkins is my other side project that I will be going to speak to the Zoning Board of Appeals tomorrow about, because that's a project. And while I feel that there is a desperate need for housing, we can also build housing that has an aesthetic tie-in to this environment. That looks like a project to me, and it will be a project if they finish it with multiple buildings all the same. So there's the ability to have an entry level here in the town council this size, and so here I am sort of putting, without a lot of experience, I haven't sat on zoning boards, none of that. But I have a good capacity for learning. I've always worked collaboratively, working in production. It's a lot of teamwork that goes into making a project happen. And I understand that the planning board is a big responsibility. It is not something to shy away from. It's not something to step up and say, oh, I'm interested, and then not follow through with a commitment. It's a big commitment. But I really feel that I would like to, any of the boards, when I moved here, I expect interest in many of the boards here, but a couple of people had asked me to put myself forward on the planning commission, so here I am. Planning board, sorry.
Councilor Blue? Oh, sorry, yeah.
Who are those people? Would you mind saying who?
No, Stacy Gunther was one, and then our dear friend, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Eric Schwab.
Yeah, okay. Let me else, see. Obviously, it's one of the key boards here in town. And it could probably, in my opinion, could use a little bit of fresh air. And have you been paying attention to what's going on in the planning board? Have you watched the meetings
Oh, yeah.
and that kind of stuff?
Yes.
What are your general thoughts? I'm not gonna get anything specific, but general thoughts about how you can help and maybe how you can help them, maybe steer them in more of a direction that's
I mean, I think that, you know, in reading general public comments, there is a dire need to address the planning of the city. And I think that the general feeling is that it's sort of thoughtless and spiraling a bit out of control. There's a great vocal community in what, you know, whether it's easy to sit behind a keyboard and make comments. It's another thing to show up at meetings and make public comments, even though it's very accessible here with Zoom and emailing comments. But I just feel that I feel that the general public feels they want representation from people who maybe have a bit of a different perspective. Like you say, just sort of a fresh and different perspective, I think. So I certainly, you know, in respect to your comment, it's not going in with a hard line about anything. It's really going in sort of with a fair middle ground and understanding the process. But I feel like the planning of the town needs to be, there needs to be a correction. There really needs to be a correction.
okay. Because it seems like in our town, there's those that build under and every opportunity, and those that want to see a happy medium. Okay, and so that's sort of where it breaks out, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's the happy medium. It's to me, it's just alarming, you know, when you look at all the criteria of how many quote unquote market rate units are being built, that basically, for those of us who are full-time residents here, it's transient housing. So you are building in this transient community into an island that is very much about community. There's the aging population to consider, which has always been a very high population here. And, you know, it's horrifying to me to see these big developers come in and get grace on some of the municipal services, either waived, reduced rates on contributing to the municipal services, and yet the older community on fixed income are having property taxes go up and up and up and up, and you know there's the infrastructure, there's the tie-in sewage, etc. It just, I feel like there has to be a correction, and I feel like there is a middle ground somewhere that needs to be sorted out.
What are your ideas about, now, there's a lot of people in Hyannis that believe, for good reason, that there's too much development there needs to be development in the other villages and that kind of stuff. And there recently has been an effort to increase density in those villages that have been sort of hit some backup. What are your feelings about overall growth in the entire town of Barnstable, not just Hyannis?
It's funny, I think I was at that meeting where they were discussing that, and you know, there was the annoyance, I guess, is that we're bearing the brunt, is that Hyannis and
Yes.
Barnstable is bearing the brunt of all this. That I would love to see it sort of spread more equally but at the same time, I think that Hyannis has always been, since I was a child, it has always sort of been the hub. It's been the hub of businesses. It's where people come from Provincetown, Wellfleet, Truro to get their groceries, we used to come here and go to Sears or Kmart so it's natural that I think because of the core of the business structure, retail structure here, that the housing is, and all of that is going to be developed around here. I think one of the gentlemen, I don't know whether it was Rob, was talking about the development out in Dennis on 6A where they did the clear cutting and then they are building the houses. despite the clear cutting, those are it's a very aesthetically pleasing, fitting into the environment once there is vegetation that grows back kind of development. I mean, I think more of those spread into communities in the Cape, not some of the buildings that we're seeing here, not some of the aesthetics, Cascade, Wilkins, some of the other high-rise buildings that we're seeing, the one on 28 that's up for sale now.
What were your thoughts on Mr. DeMello talking about, and I'm obviously like, I talk about this a lot, I like the aesthetics of the building and the actual architecture of the buildings. Because a lot of them don't fit in that respect, and there seems to be, obviously they're cheaper to build when they're rectangular and that kind of stuff, but it seems to be taking the character away, and I think, I've always thought that with a little bit of architectural flair,
Yeah.
we could still have the rectangle, but the rectangle wouldn't look like just a rectangle. It would, whether it's trim, it's sconces, or whatever. And what are your feelings about that? I always thought maybe this town needed an architectural review board.
Yeah, we are all in our own ways, in whatever capacity, creating legacy. And I just think that we have to really pause and consider what that legacy looks like. Not only what it is, but what it looks like. The buildings behind Bradford, I think, were really I mean, they're huge in this weird, you sort of come up on them and they seem so big. But aesthetically, they're pleasing. They're suitable for the environment, much like the clear-cut building they're doing over in Dennis. It's very suitable to the environment. And I feel that that's part of the legacy. It's progress. We can't impede progress, but we can certainly modify it so that it embraces the legacy and the history that this island is built on.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Charlie?
I didn't quite, I don't have my hearing aids in, I didn't quite hear, you said, you compared it to the, you just said something, the buildings behind something or other.
Oh, the Ace Hardware over here.
Oh, Ace Hardware.
Captain's Row or whatever
Yeah,
they're calling it.
Yeah, Captain's Row, okay, so you feel that they have a certain.
They tried to aesthetically at least tie in to this environment here.
Yeah.
Although we're becoming a very haphazard feeling aesthetically environment, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cascade, I would love to see what the drawings were on that Cascade building, what that is gonna look like at the end of the day, but.
Yeah. I know you don't have a lot of experience in planning boards, but you seem to be really sharp and willing to learn.
Yes.
And, as was mentioned, it's an awesome responsibility, and it's not something that you can just drop because it comes inconvenient. It really is a commitment, and you're ready to make that.
Yes.
And
But it's only because I think that my passion to be involved in the planning has grown, I think. I think that my willingness to commit to it is born out of we all need to be the agents of change to some degree. And I sort of just want to help be an agent of change in a way that I find Wilkins and Cascade just so insulting from a geographical standpoint. Architecturally, geographically, they're just, I don't know how they happened. Don't know how they happened. And I want to sit somewhere where I understand how they happened. There is a reason, and I would just like to be part of understanding and the planning of those.
you know the one thing about Wilkins too.
What one thing?
The developers realize that they can't have one parking space per unit.
Oh, maybe we should have one part. I mean, in this.
And so,
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
and they responded to that, and I like that.
Sorry, something was vibrating in my phone, I assume it was my phone.
Oh,
Let's find out. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
No, I think you covered it fairly well. What about your work, though? This is something I always ask about, a little bit more. You gave us the idea of it. But I'm more curious about what it was actually like. You know what I mean? Was it more of a, so you're, let me get you the pages.
Should I tell you stories about some of the celebrities and
Oh, the
musicians that I worked
celebrities,
with?
maybe, that's not so bad, but I mean, that's what, kind of what I'm asking. So, where you're more in the corporate, for at least for the last while here,
Yeah,
more in the corporate end of, so this is more like a marketing type scenario.
Yes.
That you're producing content for a specific company, on a
Correct.
contract basis, whatever.
yes.
And before you were actually producing films and then also some of that, how was that? Was it fun? You must have loved it.
It was amazing. You know, when I moved out there, I ended up in music videos of all things for 18 years.
Yeah.
But that to me was sort of the sand pit. There was so many amazing creative talent that came out of that particular genre to go on and do some really amazing film work. And it was really fun. For 18 years, it was a lot exhausting, a lot of 24-hour days and so on, but
Travel all over,
yeah,
all kinds of things.
parts of the world I never would have been to. It was a wonderful career.
And lots of well-known musicians and,
Yeah, and very badly behaved musicians.
yes, I can imagine.
Yes, but lots of personalities, you know.
Yeah.
So and that became less of a marketing tool. Music videos became less of a marketing tool as the internet sort of came further into play, and so I ended up moving over into commercials, which are far less exciting, and then even further away from exciting, working for Cisco.
And I suppose so. So I guess, well, that's quite a transition though, really, because you started out in the very flashy part of the whole thing, and then going slowly, you moved into it quieter and quieter and quieter, and found yourself living in Barnstable Village, West Barnstable.
I know. The amazing thing is that I can live in this beautiful part of the world and still work in my career.
Right.
That is, I mean, that's the one blessing of COVID.
Absolutely.
You know, but
Well, there you go. I was just curious about that because you guys have covered most of what I would have already asked about. But I think it's a very interesting career to have had and maybe still be doing, and then want to be involved in this. And then I guess you probably did answer it in maybe more direct. So at what point did you decide? I mean, you decided that you wanted to get involved. What was the thing that tipped you over the edge? Was it these buildings or the form-based code, or what made you want to, particularly the planning board, and get involved in this process? Was there a single thing? Was it a series of things? Is it a general zeitgeist or a situation? I know that, you know what I'm asking?
I think it was a series that when I first came here and sort of started building a relationship with one of my cousins, he had said you should get into town council. You should really get invested in this, in the city that you're living in the town that you're living in. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I started going to meetings. I think the catalyst was Wilkins. One of my family members had breast cancer, and I ended up being over at CUDA a lot and seeing that sand pit of thing being built and finished and so on. And that became the zeitgeist, I think, for me. And then Cascade, when I saw that being knocked down, and you know, when you all of a sudden when you become aware of one thing, you see it everywhere. When all of a sudden you have your dream car and you have your Jeep Wrangler, everybody's driving a Jeep. You know, it's sort of that. So now I see it everywhere I go. I'm just seeing construction. And my worry is 10 years from now, what is that gonna look like? What will it be? Where are these people coming from? Our infrastructure, water is I came from an area where there's severe drought. We are now, I guess, as of yesterday at level 2, which is 2 levels from emergency. And I'm on a well, so, you know, wells do run dry, but where's the water coming from? Where is this infrastructure coming from?
Right. I
So
can see that.
anyway, so I'm sorry, I go off onto these.
No, I understand.
So
I can follow you all the way down the rabbit hole.
So it became a passion, and I think, you know, as you guys do, we can all do something. It's just a matter of how much you're willing to stand up and do it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, I've been very involved in town for a number of years, not in the fire district and water specifically and all that stuff. And, you know, it's a long story, just to put it, you know, briefly. All of this, everything to bring us to this point in where we are in the story is a long time. A lot of different things occurred in order to. The one thing I will say though, and if you talk to any of the water commissioners, which I have done at length and have been through 1,000,001 water presentations, what we did in Katuitt, which has helped us, is if we could get people to stop irrigating with public water supply.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the status is of other water districts, but we have created not me directly, but I am a commissioner of the fire district, but not the water commission. Created a punitive rate essentially.
Yeah.
You know, a tiered rate. Your use goes up and your rate goes like this in order to get people to put in fertigation wells, which is a well that takes the water from your essentially from the field of your septic system and uses that to then
Yeah, the gray
fertilize
water,
and irrigate your lawn. But anyway, that's just one thing. Like there's a lot of different ways to go to look at this particular, especially the water thing, just because I've listened to so much of that. Anyway, that's well and truly beside the point.
But it's true, I mean, in LA, there was the same thing because we would have punitive charges that got outrageous.
Right.
I ended up putting in artificial grass
There you go.
because
Lot
I just
cheaper.
didn't want a brown, and I have dogs, I didn't want a desert landscape, so on, but yeah, I mean, for me, I have a rental as well on my property on the well.
Oh.
And, so I found a hose that was left running for how long? So,
Just a few thousand gallons.
yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Just have one last question. One of the things that bothers me about the planning board is that when they say yes to something, they write a letter and says, yeah, we're good with it. When they say no, they say, no, we're not good with it. And there's like no detail. So from your production background, I'm sure that you get a client who comes in and they say, we want to do this thing. And you're like, oh, no, we can't do that. And you probably bring back the data or the other plan and you provide best guidance as to why this scene over here can't work. Maybe this is why it won't work. What do you think about the planning board actually providing like a one-pager to the town council when they say yes to something or no to something to guide us? Because if not, then I have to go and watch all the meetings. Then I have to find out what meetings dealt with the topic. It's like the rabbit hole. You're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I might as well have just attended all the meetings. I don't even know why we need you at the planning board if I just attended all the meetings. So what do you think about your skill in helping maybe like bring together like a one-pager that might be useful to the town council?
I think that's an amazing suggestion. You know, one of the things of my job is never saying no. It's figuring out alternative approaches. I won't say no to you, but I'm gonna bring you back an alternative approach that will somewhat yield the same results, we'll just go at it differently. But I mean, that there's not sort of a succinct breakdown behind the decision is a bit alarming. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they'll just say, no, we don't support it.
Right, we talked about that at our committee the other day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wait, did you see the nice one that came from the CFAC today?
Haven't read it yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
It
From
was
the
good.
meeting last night?
Yeah, well, it was there, so, and in the committee on committees that we've had, we've been discussing about, you know, how the liaison process works with the counselor to the committee, but also how is an item referred from the council to a committee? Because, for instance, in that setting, Betty said to Craig, can we get the CFAC to review this Wilkins thing? And of course, you know, we want to standardize and make sure that people are aware of the process and how to do that, and that we should use the committees more effectively to do those very things. That when we get to the point where we're going to be making a decision on something, we should have already referred this to a committee, and they would then make an assessment and give us back a semi-detailed document that's going to inform us in our decision making. So they sent the Wilkins thing. Yeah, you probably watched the meeting, but it's nice. It's like 3 pages long.
I've got it, yeah.
The breakdown of what it is, all of the
Yeah.
information comparatively. And so what Kristen is saying is, say for the marijuana overlay district debate that we had the other night, however, that was now weeks ago, but we had the planning board said, no, we do not support it. So we had no, and when you find out that it was, was it Bob Twist or whomever was on there saying, it's a gateway drug, it's a this, it's an A, B, C, and D, not like planning-based things.
Yeah.
then that, to me, negates the whole concept of the planning board reviewing it in a dispassionate manner for the, or like, based on the merits, but we have no idea of that. So, anyway.
I think Trump is about to deregulate it anyway.
But
But it's surprising to me because I think that, as Rob was sitting here talking about things, I'm like, God, he'd actually be good for the planning board too. And, there's such an overlay in terms of all the all the boards and what you do, that exchange of information should be, like you say, you have a one sheet so you understand what their decision is based in.
Right, so that we can then assess it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Of course.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yes, nice to meet you
Meeting
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
We look
much.
forward to seeing you at many more meetings ahead.
Oh, yes, I'll be there tomorrow.
All right.
Are you, before you go, are you still working full-time or?
I am.
You are,
Yes.
and, but you don't see a problem with your schedule, you work from home, so it's easy.
Yeah, that and also I sort of am, I don't know how to say this without, I don't mean this to come off the way that it sounds, but I can sort of create my own schedule
Yeah.
at the level that I'm at. So if I need to block out 2 hours from 4 to 6, and so be it, I can do that, as I did when I'm here today. So, yeah, I can accommodate other things in my schedule, which is great.
All right, Catherine, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank you
meet
very
you.
much.
Okay, so, we got a couple of things and then we'll wrap it up and.
Yeah.
So we have C, correspondence from committee chairs. We have the licensing authority, the committee chair and its members ask that the appointments committee members consider recommending Nancy Krausen-Lidman from an associate member to a regular member to a term expiring 6/30/2028. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I will, so moved.
This is for what board?
So the licensing
Licensing.
authority,
Okay.
she's already on there and she is there as an alternate. So they're asking for her to be moved to an associate.
She's been on there a long time, she's good.
Okay.
I think.
So
I will
moved,
I will
and
make that
does somebody
motion.
want a second?
Charlie did.
Okay, sorry, I missed it.
It's okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. And I would like to hold off on the Conservation Commission. We had some applicants today. We have we have FP Tom Lee and Peter Sampu, who we have not re-interviewed for their reappointments, so I think we need more time to do that. Would anyone like to make a motion for the Council on Aging for Charles Coyle as a regular member to a term expiring 6/30/2028?
I'll move so.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the Human Services Committee, Kimberly Crocker Crowther as a regular member to a term expiring 6/30/2028. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion. Kimberly,
This is not Wendy Crocker, it's Kimberly Crocker, or is that the same person?
Different
It's
person,
different
not Wendy Crocker.
Wendy
Kimberly
Crocker, we just did a year
Crocker
ago,
Crowther,
right?
yeah, a year ago, yeah.
Now, this is all tied into that whole thing, right?
Okay, so I did follow up with Cheryl, I probably should say that to the chair. Kimberly attended the meetings, if she wasn't physically attending, she attended by phone. I feel rather confident that that was truthful.
Have you read anything, did you read Karen's thing?
I did.
I did, but I don't think that precludes us from,
Well, no, we can do it, but I'm just saying, I'm just getting where, all right, we can vote on it,
no,
that's fine.
no, what are you thinking?
what's
I'm
That's
this,
totally
I'm
open.
just thinking, I'm just putting it on the record, putting it out there.
what is this again, cause I don't have my hearing.
The guidance from the town attorney, Ari, the last Human Services Committee meeting.
I didn't,
It's out today.
So are you thinking we shouldn't reappoint her to make sure something negative doesn't come out of that? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not saying that, I'm saying I was just wondering if you guys were aware of it. If it would
I watched the whole
inform
thing.
your vote, yeah, so that's what I'm saying, so we can vote on it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't vote on it, I'm just seeing that you all are aware of the facts that
Yes,
were
I
in
am
there.
not aware of that.
Okay,
This is the email, but it's long. It's from
Yeah.
When did
Karen.
it come?
Today.
Today, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay.
It talks
We
about,
could vote on it, I mean,
I'd
it's,
be more comfortable if I was able to read
okay,
these.
alright, so
Yeah.
we will not vote on that.
Postpone that,
Okay. I think again, we should wait on the Open Space Committee. We have Farley Lewis and Kate Gulliver up for reappointments. We also have Ms. Dorcas who applied for that. We haven't re-interviewed the other people. So I think we should hold off on the open space.
For which one? Open space, now,
Committee.
Deb Dorcas was also
She applied for
for planning too.
planning. So,
We're gonna have to vote on the committee someday soon. Like the planning one, because we interviewed, what day was Deb Dorcas?
I know.
Seems like a long time.
That was April
What?
1st.
Yeah.
Then we had Seth and Samantha on the 24th. Now we've just had Catherine. And
I
Ray,
did say
who
to
didn't
Cindy,
come.
it was really easy when we had nobody applying for boards, committees and commissions, it was really easy, now we got our work cut out for us.
But I mean, I think we should try to set dates certain for, did we set dates
Okay,
certain for the
I
planning
think at
board?
the next meeting, we'll vote on the planning board.
Okay. I just, you know what I mean
Who
though,
else
cause we're
do we
just gonna
need
end up
to-
continuously interviewing people and be like, wait, someone else might come.
Did Ray,
Yeah, did we
Sexton,
hear from
He
her?
was, he received an email July 23rd regarding this meeting, after the last one was canceled. And he was out of town, unfortunately, could not make it, but he was scheduled for the one that was, canceled.
So we have one reappointment and one open spot on the planning board, correct? Okay. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people applying.
Yeah, at least, but there's
Yeah,
5 really.
Dorcas, Etienne, Aroni, Finkenstadt, who else?
Ray is,
Well, but
oh, but
he's
we're
a
gonna, he'll be a
reappointment, and then we have one
I don't know if you guys
opening.
had maybe, we're thinking, you know, I don't know what anybody's thinking, if you're thinking, let's switch everybody, or, but for the for the one open spot, we do have 4 people.
And you included just Catherine just now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have Ms. Dorcas, Seth, Etienne, Aroni, and Finkenstadt. We have 4 people. We have a reappointment and one open space. So the question for the committee is, do we wanna reappoint somebody and just choose a new person in the one slot? Or do we wanna wait until next time and consider all 5 people for those 2 spots?
I would consider all 5.
Okay. So we will plan on,
But you know what I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm
No,
just saying,
I-
I think
I-
we should have dates certain.
you're including Deb Dorcas in with the
Yeah.
planning board, okay? All right.
I agree.
Here's Betty.
Right? Yeah, we
Yeah.
gotta get it going, or
Yeah,
else we're
but
gonna get
the
into
thing is the way I look at this is we've said we re-interview people.
Right, so we gotta do
And I think it's unfair if then we just get lazy and we say, well, we're not gonna re-interview those people because we gotta get it done.
No, I agree.
Like, I'm a little bit torn, I
Yeah,
hear what you're
it's
saying.
fine, I understand, as long as we take a time to then, after we have got everybody all interviewed. I just, if they keep coming, if the applications keep coming in, I don't wanna be like, oh, well, let's see this one too, maybe it'll be better. Let's go on, and then have a never ending, not that you would allow that to happen, but we'll have a never ending interview process.
Yeah. Okay,
Prior to the vote, say a week or two, the vote, or whatever we're gonna vote on these, can we have a list of all of them so we can go back through and review?
Yep.
That all
Totally can do that.
all are in contention?
And we have James Weiler for the Shellfish Committee. Would anybody like to make a motion to appoint?
Sure. I
James
move that to vote James Weiler to a position to a term expiring 6/30/2029 on the Shellfish Committee.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Can we have some discussion first?
Oh, sure.
Are there other applicants for that? And there's no other applicants?
No.
Okay, let's move. Okay,
All those in
Cindy.
favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okey dokey.
Okay, so we're gonna wait on open space. Yeah, we have the list of applicants. Would anybody, so we have made a motion and seconded Nancy Carlson Lidman, correct?
So we did vote on that one.
We
So
have,
that leaves
Oh,
an associate member now vacant.
yep, so we have Michael Travato, who was interviewed on 4/29/2025. Would anybody like to make a motion for him to be into the alternate member?
Yes, I will make that motion, but I wanna remember exactly who he was. He was the assistant town manager in Orleans or Wellfleet, right? Then he owned the Pier 1,
He used to work here in planning and
Yeah.
and
development
he worked
as
in
well.
planning and development here, so I am remembering who he is correctly. Good,
Now, you
yeah,
said Pier 1, yeah, I sort of.
remember? That was a while ago, alright, so moved.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okey-doke.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of 6/24/2025?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next meeting.
So just so I have it correct, Madam Chair,
Yes.
you want Mr. Sexton in,
Mm-hmm.
and you want the open space committees that are up for reappointment,
And the conservation
as
committee.
well as the conservation.
Mhm.
All right.
So the goal will be for the next meeting, we'll make some decisions on open space, planning board, conservation, human services. Did I say planning?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
It'll be a
We'll,
bar.
we'll have a busy day.
It'll be good.
Everybody drink a cup of coffee before they come. We'll do our best to carry on. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, next meeting. Today is the 12th. Okay, we're not doing it the first week of September. No
What
way.
happens then?
That's a holiday week.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
know.
right.
Labor Day week, okay.
What does everybody think of September 9th? That gives Cindy hopefully plenty of time to get those people scheduled. Is that good? Because that gives you plenty of time to reach out and organize them so that we can,
September 9th is,
A Tues-
Concom has a meeting at 3:30. So Tom Lee wouldn't be able to attend this meeting.
Schedule them later?
yeah, do you think, what time's it now? It usually ends with,
He would be able to do the second though.
I don't know, but
Well,
that's a holiday.
I can't speak for him, but Concom meeting on the second is,
That one's at 6:30.
For me, the
Yeah.
lights go out and after looking at that Monday, everything's over.
And they meet again, Charlie, the following
Personally, but like
Tuesday?
everything goes
Yes.
from busy
So
to
you wanna go on the second,
I
is
don't
what you're
mind
saying?
if you want, if you guys have stuff going on, but for me, I should be available.
You know what? I'm not gonna be here.
There you go, sailing in Caribbean.
No. Do we wanna do a different day?
Any day is good for
I'm
me.
up for anything.
Do you wanna do Wednesday the 10th?
No, I'm still away. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I'm
you're
just
away.
trying to.
What day do you leave?
I'm gone the weekend and I'm back on the Wednesday.
And then back and then gone again the next week?
No, but he can't, Tom Lee can't do
yes,
the
Tom.
9th. I don't know, somebody make a different suggestion.
The 10th.
Wednesday the 10th?
Is that what you said, Cindy?
I did, yeah. I don't know if that's good for anybody else.
That's good for me.
Wednesday the
I
10th?
can do it.
Okay, 3 o'clock,
Okay.
PM,
appointments. 3 p.m.
okay,
Okay, appreciate everybody's time today.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You are adjourned at 6:02.
Hi, Ben.